Welcome to episode 2 of my hobby diaries. Firstly, happy new year. It is in fact 2026 and these are going to be the first hobbies that I do of the year. My first episode in this series was towards the end of 2025 where I just did the last hobbies of 2025 and now I'm excited to do kind of my first hobbies of this year. I have quite a few hobbies that I want to continue, that I want to maintain. Some hobbies that I started towards the end of 2025 that I want to keep up with, such as journaling, and also just across the year, hopefully being able to go to new events and try new hobbies like I did towards the end of last year. So I'm really excited to continue this series. Today is going to be a homebody hobby day. I want to be reading. I might do some journaling and things as well, but primarily I want to be reading. I'm currently reading A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. This is the third book in the Ember Quartet. I read the first book in this series, An Ember in the Ashes, I think in autumn time 2025, and I enjoyed the book, but I was in the middle of so many series that I didn't really get into it. However, a few days ago I read the second book in this series, which is A Torch Against the Night, and I loved it. I sped through it. I read it in 2 days, which is so quick for me. I was off, which meant I had a lot more time to read, but I just sped through it and I really enjoyed the book, and it really made me more enthralled in this series than I had been previously. In the first book in the series, we have two main characters and both of their POVs. We have our FMC, who is a scholar in a world where scholars are severely mistreated, and we see as she learns more about herself, her family, the world she's in, and starts to fight for what she believes in a little bit more. And we also have our MMC, who is a soldier who dislikes the regime he's fighting for. So we get to learn about both of their journeys, and it was enjoyable. However, in the second book, a lot of things came together, a lot of characters came together, there was a lot more development, we learned more about the law and the history of the world, and I just had so much fun. There was also a little bit more of court politics in the second book because we had an additional POV, and I thoroughly enjoyed the second book, and I still haven't decided if I'm giving it 5 stars or not. I really enjoyed it, and it's either a 4.5 stars or 5 stars. I haven't quite decided, but it was definitely high up there and I thoroughly enjoyed the book. Straight after finishing that, I did start this third book, which is again called A Reaper at the Gates, and there are 4 books in this series, so after this one I have 1 more left to read. I'm currently about 12% of the way through, so I'm at chapter 8 and I just want to read, so let's go and do that.
The evening drips like honey, oh so slow. A saxophone whispers.
So I did read a couple of chapters, but I also finished decorating on my Kindle. So I just added this charm set, which I really like how it turned out, and that is the Kindle decorations complete. I'm now on chapter 10, but I do want to take a pause from reading, and I think I'm going to do some journaling or scrapbooking or just something a little bit crafty, but I will also be listening to the audiobook whilst I do this.
Gentle piano paints the twilight's hue as cobblestone sighs beneath our shoe. The books are sleeping on the dusty shelves with stories of lives and forgotten selves. A cafe's hum, a gentle drum in play, echoes the footsteps of an endless day. Oh, city lights, they flicker like a dream. Reflections murmur on a flowing stream. Philosophy spills with each thought we sow, and wistful wanderings of all we know.
Good morning. It is in fact the next day now. Yesterday I did manage to update my journal. This is a new hobby that I've been getting into and I'm figuring out what I want to do with it because I have my kind of daily journal that I use, but I want this one to be a bit more focused on positive things, and it's kind of like a scrapbook but in written form. That's how I'm using this. So I am doing a bit of like crafty bits as well, but I've updated this just with a few thoughts recently and kind of the introduction to the new year, that kind of vibe. So that I did do yesterday. And then in terms of reading, I managed to get to, I think, 45% of the way through A Reaper at the Gates. So yeah, 45% of the way through. So I've just started chapter 27 and I'm really enjoying it. I definitely think I preferred the second book to this one, but we have got a few new characters, a few more plot things that are occurring and beginning to develop, so I'm definitely enjoying it, and I'm hoping to read a chunk of this evening. Maybe I'll finish it today. If not, I'll finish it over the next few days, but I'm definitely enjoying it. I think it's a great development from where we left off in the second book, and like I mentioned, we're getting a couple new characters that I'm really enjoying, and just more from the plot as well. So I'm definitely liking that, and we are learning more about the world that we're in and the lore and the history. So I'm liking the little snippets that we're getting as those develop as well. So I am enjoying this. Now, I did in fact update my scrapbook yesterday. That was one of the main things that I wanted to do. So I did that yesterday evening, and there were two main spreads that I wanted to do. The first one was my December kind of wrap up, because I realized I never did one for December. So I did actually update that yesterday.
The cobblestones glisten, the city hums low, the drizzle soft whisper, where do thoughts go? The saxophone sighs in a soulful lament, a moment of peace that feels heaven sent. Through bookstore windows, the stories unfold. Between dusty pages, the wisdom of old. The jazz dances gently, it carries the breeze. Philosophy lingers.
And this is what it looks like. When I first did it, you would have seen on the clips that I just wrote December across here, and even as I was writing it, I knew that I wasn't going to like it. So I'm glad that I managed to cover it up and add a few other bits to it. For some reason, I think my printer, like the ink or something, is running out because the photos aren't as vivid as they usually are, but I've got them in here, and I like how this spread turned out just to wrap up December. So that's done.
Reflections in the rain, a world so surreal. Each drop tells a story, each step helps us heal. The piano keeps time for the heart's tender sway, and the quiet affirms what no words need to say. Oh, what is a thought but a cloud in the sky? It drifts and
And then the second spread that I wanted to do was my bingo card for 2026. I've actually done this for January and February combined. I have never done like a bingo card, and I just thought doing one for the whole year, I wanted to be able to do more things than what that was offering. So then I thought maybe I would do it for each quarter. However, I am someone that just generally prefers to do things kind of seasonally, and since December's already done, I figured we'll do January and February as the first bingo card, and then the next one will be spring and then summer and so on. That is just how I prefer to set things out. So I did set up my bingo card. Unfortunately, when I went to stick down the actual bingo card, I stuck this. I put it upside down on here so I could glue the back, but I forgot that I had already put glue on this paper, so there is a bit of like glue stuck on there. I managed to get some of it off, but if I do any more, I'll ruin the photo, and this was the last printer photo that I used, and even then the color is still not as vivid as I wanted it to be. But yeah, so that was unfortunate, but it's okay. I don't think you can really tell unless you really look at it from the side. Like I can see from this angle the glue that's still stuck from it, but I think it's fine. And then I will just update that as I go through the months, or maybe I'll do it right at the end of February. I would like to actually update it kind of at the end of Jan, just so I know what I've done and what things I want to fit into February. Otherwise, I feel like it's quite easy to forget. And then I just left this space to write on once I've gotten to the end. So I did update that as well. And those are the scrapbooking and those kind of hobbies done. I haven't done my book journal in a while, but I think I want to do that as a separate video where I do a complete update at the end of January of a few different spreads that I'm thinking of doing once I've completed a couple of series that I'm in the middle of. So that is where I'm at in terms of those hobbies. So for the rest of the day, I am literally going to be reading, and yeah, we'll see how far we can get with this. We do have 3 POVs in this book, which is the same 3 POVs that we had in the second book, and I really like that that's being maintained because I think it gave a good dynamic in terms of seeing all of the different characters' journeys and how they're impacting one another as we move through the book. So I'm really liking that aspect. I've also found myself become quite attached to these characters. I felt it a little bit in the first book, but the second book really pushed that forward, and this third book is just maintaining that. I'm also liking that we are getting a few additional characters in the story, and we're also getting some characters that we've had previously. They're having a bit of a bigger part of the story, which I'm also liking too. There is quite a lot of different things going on, and some of it is court politics and stuff, which I personally love, and so it's been really fun to have that aspect of it as well, and just learning more about the lore and the history of the world, which is something that I personally love about fantasy books. It's just the world building and the systems that go into that. So I'm really liking that we're getting to learn more of that as we move through the series, and it's definitely been a huge part of why I've liked this series so much so far. I'm still on chapter 27, but those are just some of my thoughts about this series and this book in particular. So it has been a couple of hours and I only got to chapter 30. I did do a few other things in that time. I had my dinner and just a couple of other things. So I didn't read as much as I thought I would. I managed to get to 53% of the way through. I'm liking what's happening. We've just hit the midpoint, and so there's a few things that are picking up in terms of the pacing and each of the characters' journey, so I'm enjoying that. I do want a couple of things to be resolved in this book, but we do have one more book left in this series, so I don't know if they will be resolved in that book instead, but I'm still enjoying where we're heading and what's happening in the book. I was initially planning on reading for most of this evening, but I'm now kind of feeling called to catch up on YouTube, maybe watch a movie or something and just relax in that way. So that means I am going to end this video here. Thank you so much for joining me in my homebody hobby diaries. This has definitely been one that has been focused on cozy hobbies at home, but I am hoping that the next one I will go out a little bit more as we're still in winter, but I do just feel called to just leave the house a little bit more. Hopefully, maybe even going to just like a cafe to read and things like that, and maybe we'll go to some hobby events soon as well. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!